Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Before I get started today, I want to issue a bit of a trigger warning. If you're someone that's easily upset by sensitive subjects, you might not want to watch today's video. You might want to go find something else to do. And with that warning being given, I want to get to today's topic. What I want to do today is I want to respond to an email I received from a viewer who apparently doesn't like me or my channel or the gun community as a whole. So I kind of wonder why they're watching my channel, but apparently they are. Well, they sent me an email basically tearing me up for promoting the ideas of toxic masculinity in the gun community and how all us gun guys were just, into all the toxic masculine stuff. And we think that owning a gun makes us a man and it compensates for other things, all those old tropes. Apparently they had read an article by Ben Shapiro, who I'm not a big follower of. I'm sure some of you do follow him. But they read an article by him talking about how us gun owners and us people in the gun community, we need to start teaching our boys to be men. We need to teach our sons how to be manly. And they went off about how this whole notion of teaching all this toxic masculinity stuff is one of the things that's wrong with the gun community and the reason why we think we need guns because of our tiny penises, etc. Well, like I said, I don't really follow Ben Shapiro, but I did look up the article and read some of it. And what Ben Shapiro was talking about, as far as I can tell, has nothing to do with toxic masculinity. In fact, he's exposing this lie that somehow being manly is toxic. He's talking about the positive attributes of masculinity. Because I can't imagine Ben Shapiro's out there telling them, we need to teach our kids to love football, lift weights, and, get drunk, start fights. Because I don't think that's Ben Shapiro. I mean, you've seen Ben Shapiro. He's kind of effeminate. He's not what you would consider a manly man by those toxic standards that this person's talking about. He's what, in my day, we'd call a little bit of a Nancy boy. Those guys that are, into the toxic masculinity, men get drunk and start fights and like football and we don't show emotion and we don't ever hug our kids, that kind of bull crap would have beat him up in high school. So I can't imagine he's supporting that. What he's talking about is how there's nothing wrong with being a man, an actual man. And that doesn't mean everything that's considered masculine, because here's what masculinity is, or masculine traits. Those are just traits that are more commonly associated with males than females. Because you're either male or you're female, genetically, gender aside. You're either one of two things. You're a man or a woman genetically. No matter how much surgery you have, you're male or female. Now, maybe we can change that in the future. That'd be awesome. But as of right now, you're always either male or female. And there are some traits that are more commonly associated with men and some that are more commonly associated with women, females, males, females. Some of the things that are associated with men are toxic. Hypermasculinity, that getting drunk and starting fights, being too involved in sports to where if your team loses, you go out and start flipping over cars. Yeah, that's toxic. That, real men don't love their kids. They make as many babies as they can with as many women as they can, and then they go do their business, whatever they want to do. That's toxic. And those are masculine traits. They're more associated with men than women, of course. But that doesn't make you a man. That's not what makes you a man. None of those masculine traits have anything to do with manhood. It's like saying, you got to like sports if you want to be a man. A lot of the best men I know couldn't give two shits about sports. They definitely don't lose their mind if their team loses because they recognize it for how unimportant it actually is. It's at best entertainment, at worst a distraction. So they don't really care, and it's got nothing to do with how manly they are. None of those negative masculine traits have anything to do with being a man. Being a man is like being a woman, being a real woman, a true, dyed-in-the-wool, good person. That's what being a man is. I teach my kids that being manly means you're honest, you're reliable, you live up to your obligations to yourself, your family, your friends, your country. You tell the truth, just things that if you say something, people know you mean it. If you say you'll do something, they know you'll do it. They know they can count on you. That's being a man. And they also know that you are strong enough emotionally to be there when they need you. Especially as a father, that's very important. That's what being a man is. And it doesn't have anything to do with the negative attributes of masculinity. In fact, real men don't care about that stuff, that other stuff. You know, those guys are, do you even lift, bro? Who gives a fuck? How much do you bench? I don't care. Got nothing to do with my life. It's great for you if you want to do it, but I always think that to people who do that shit, who make fun of other guys because they don't do things that they consider masculine, well, they're the ones that have a problem. It's like if some guy likes knitting, that's fine. That's not considered a masculine trait. It's considered a feminine trait. But the guy doing it could be one of the most manly men you ever met, but he just likes to knit. And if someone else gives him shit over that, that's not his problem, that's their problem. The fact that he doesn't care shows how manly he is. And the fact that that other person thinks he would care shows that they don't know what it means to be a man. Now, that doesn't mean you can't joke with your friends and other people about like, you like to knit. But in reality, if you actually think they care, then you probably don't understand what manhood is, because men don't care. Like I said, the traits that make you a man have nothing to do with toxic masculinity. I'm not saying toxic masculinity doesn't exist in the gun community. Of course it does. It exists everywhere. There are people that were raised wrong. Like I said, they think being a man is how many babies you've made, or, how much beer you can drink and how good you are at fist fighting. Things like that. They just weren't raised right. So they have a really negative idea of what being a man is. But a lot of people have exploited those negative masculine attributes and tried to make it to where men in general are somehow bad. Men are necessary. Young boys need men in their lives to teach them how to be a man. Now, does that mean you can't grow up to be a good man without a man in your life? No, of course it doesn't. I was raised by a single mom. I know a lot of guys that were raised by single moms that did just fine in life. They're some of the best people I know. But it is a good thing to have a father in your life when you're growing up, statistically. It is great to have a father. You do better if you have a father than if you don't have a father. Except for some reason when you have two moms. People who have two moms grow up and do really well. I don't know why that is, but they tend to, statistically. So maybe two women is better than one, I don't know. But that's another topic. But like I said, there's nothing negative about being a man. And when you teach someone from a young age, like, oh, you've got a penis, you're bad. So if you do these, you're already got a strike against you, you got a penis. So if you get into these other things like guns and cars and, things that men like, well, then you're just some sort of toxic, creep. And that's negative, and that's not true. Someone can love guns and cars and fishing and sports and still be sensitive and caring and emotionally strong and present. That's one of the most important things about men. They're present, real men. So this idea that masculinity is toxic, I think that's what Ben Shapiro was talking about, is that those negative things aren't what's important. It's the good things about being a man that need to be passed down. And when men don't take any active role in raising their children, that gets lost often. So I agree with what he was saying. We do need to teach our children to be manly. Like I said, I teach my children, be honest, be trustworthy, be reliable, be true to everything. Your family, your friends, your responsibilities. That's manly. Don't care what other people think. That's manly. Be able not only to be emotionally strong, but be able to defend yourself, your family, your friends, your country. And that's where guns come in. They're a tool. Real men like guns. Now, I'm not saying you have to like guns to be a real man, because you don't have to be. Some really strong, wonderful men are against guns. Doesn't affect their manliness. That's between them and the things they do. That's dependent upon them and the things they do and the things they are. That makes them a man or not. Guns have nothing to do with it. But guns are a tool that men and women and everybody in between, as far as I'm concerned, should feel this way. It's a tool towards being prepared and being able to live up to your responsibilities. Because that tool makes you able to defend yourself, your family, your friends, etc. And maybe someday your country, if necessary. So Guns are just the tools of people who understand what it's like to be a responsible adult. Sometimes they're responsible, manly adults. Sometimes they're responsible, womanly adults. And both of those and everything in between can recognize the importance of being prepared. And just because we recognize those importances and we honor the actual positive male attributes, that's not toxic masculinity. Masculinity in itself is not toxic. There are some toxic roles that have been unfortunately fostered in the male community that are negative, and those do need to go away. Sensitivity, being like, oh my God, my masculinity is so fragile that if anyone ever contradicts it or questions it, I go into a frenzy, that kind of shit. The men don't hug their children, that kind of bullshit. Men drink away their feelings, that kind of bullshit. That does need to go away. But being a man, that's something that needs to stay and it needs to be fostered. And in the gun community, I agree with Ben Shapiro. In any community, whether you like guns or not, being a man is a good thing. And men are attracted to guns more so than women because we feel like we need to be protectors. And anyone who thinks that, because I can bench 250, I can protect my family, yeah, that doesn't do much well at all against one guy with a knife. So that owning a gun helps you be a better man, be better prepared to defend yourself, your family, etc. So guns are not a way to be a man. Owning a gun doesn't make you a man. But if you are a man or a good woman, or like I say, anything in between as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what you call yourself, owning a gun is just a responsible act. It is making yourself more prepared to deal with bad things if they ever happen. So like I said, owning a gun doesn't make you a man or anything else. But if you are a man or anything else of merit, you should want a gun because it helps you live up to your obligations. Hey everybody, Yankee here. Just wanting to remind everyone, if you want to support this channel and the programs that we sponsor, or you just want some official Yankee Marshall Posse merchandise, you can go over to tympistolproject.com and there is a wide selection of merchandise over there. Pick yourself out something, buy yourself something nice. Anytime you buy a t-shirt, you get 2 entries into this month's friend drawing. You buy any other item, you get 1 entry into this month's friend drawing, and all profits go to the Pets and Vets Fund that we support. So go on over, get yourself some merch, help save an animal in need, and maybe win a prize. Hey everyone, Yankee here. In my videos, we often cover some complicated subjects with a lot of gray area. So if you would like to further discuss anything said in my videos, please join us in one of my live chats. Live chats are held most days at 6 p.m. Pacific time, except for Monday and Wednesday when they are at 5 p.m. Pacific. There is a clickable link to the live chats in the upper right-hand corner of this video. If you disagree with anything I've said in a video, feel free to participate in Spank the Yank. You can come on the live discussion panel and let me know face to face how I was wrong.